football game between Seahawks and Arizona, as well as free picks on the Tulane and Tulsa as they lock up in college football. We'll have a lot more football picks for you from this weekend. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our green room and show that you know who's on the show. We've got Rod Zawacki will come in, as well as Alex Smart. Chris Ruffalo will serve as my co-host. El Ninos and Sean Mickle will be in. And Mitch and Damien Sosh will sign in a little later. So let's go ahead and bring in my co-host, Chris Ruffalo. Chris, how you doing? I know you spent a lot of time on NBA draft, so much time that you laid out a lot of bets. Why don't you put the viewers in on how things went for you?
Well, I think my big catch of the whole draft was we caught Obi Toppin to go 8th overall at plus 2,500. So that was I think if you just even put just like $100 on that game, that would have paid for any of the other props that you put on that night, and probably for the rest of the week as well. So that was I think our big winner. A couple other ones. We did get James Wiseman at a nice price under 2.5, going 2nd overall. So that I think we got that at plus 180 early enough that before all the whirlwind started to shift that he was going to go number 2 overall, and that quickly flipped to about minus 200 close to the draft. So that was another good one we had. But you know what? It was one of those things where if you just put a couple bucks on it, nobody's saying that you have to bet your life savings or go too crazy on the NBA draft of all things. But if you're going to be sitting around for a few hours, want to put a couple bucks on something, and all the games are already done for the night, well, it was fun. And like I said, if you had Obi Toppin at going 8th like I did, you made a killing last night.
Yeah, no question about that. Okay, Chris, I said you were keeping an eye on that draft. Which teams really improved themselves in the draft here? Obviously, first round. There'll be no summer league, so it'll be interesting to see how these teams can make an impact on their team.
Well, I think right off the bat, you have to say that Golden State made the right choice taking James Wiseman after you lose Klay Thompson for another heartbreaking injury. I mean, this guy can't catch a break over the last couple of years, but you fill the team need with Wiseman at center. And I think that he's going to be a generational player. I think he's going to be someone that you have to definitely watch for the next 10, 15 years. I think he's going to be really, really good in the league. I also think that Boston, I don't know if you can do much and improve much on a team that did as well as Boston did earlier this year, but they used their picks well. And you know what? I actually think that a winner of the draft is the Philadelphia 76ers. Mainly because they were able to shed an $80 million contract in Al Horford. They got Tyrese Maxey, Danny Green, and someone else that's slipping off the top of my head right now. But you got some depth players. When a lot of criticism came for the Sixers, that depth was an issue for them. And we're also talking about the Houston Rockets that are having turmoil within that team. Well, you know what? If you're going to rebuild, you might as well start having a bit of a fire sale and see what you can get for your assets. And They've accrued a bunch of draft picks. I think they're going to have. I think it was Houston that's going to have 17 first-round picks up until 2026. So, those are some of the teams that I think definitely made a splash in the draft.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo here. Join me on the drive-through, guys. We'll take it top of the hour. A lot of picks up from college football and NFL. So we'll go ahead and get the show rolling. And welcome to the show, Alex Smart. You'll find him over at Pick Dogs Premium, having a fantastic season this year. Alex, how are things going? Of course, I know in the NBA draft, some of these rookies, a lot of them don't have much of an impact, on the team until probably after game 25, game 30. Then you may take a little look at them. But one thing with these rookies, they got to, in the past, they were forced to defend and not turn the ball over. But now it seems that most coaches, they're just looking for offense, and they kind of they look the other way with their defense and turnovers.
Yeah, and you're always shocked by the guy that sort of stands out. I mean, and who you sometimes expect to be a big star, ends up being a secondary look, either because of injury or they just don't pan out. So, the NBA draft and the NBA rookies, it's a real toss-up kind of bet, when you're looking at individual teams and how they're going to improve.
That's right. And of course, you want to see gel. One thing that does make more impact are these free agents that move, especially when you get these top-tier players moving. Moving. And of course, a team like the Rockets that look like they could be in a tank mode, and you start seeing these teams starting to gather up draft picks. You start thinking, okay, this is a team that may be tinkering their lineup a little bit to work their way toward the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. like LA just won their championship this year in this weird COVID season. And you wonder, what are the young players? Which young players are going to step up for these guys in the future? And that's a big question mark. So we're going to see where that goes too. Just random thoughts from me.
Yeah, random thoughts from me because the NBA is gonna is about a month away, and it's gonna come fast.
Yeah.
And we got to get our attention here, get focused on these roster changes, coaching changes, style, who's gonna run, the points, and some of these analytics, advanced analytics. Now we see in the NBA, we're seeing pace of play, points per 100 possession, efficiency ratings, and stuff like that. Chris, you take a look at those numbers.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's definitely key in today's game, especially when, you look at, Tony, like you said, efficiency rating. We also have player efficiency ratings, pace of play, team efficiency based on 100 possessions, offensively and defensively. And, we're starting to see, just how important, game flow really is. And, with the emergence of the 3-point shot, we're talking about how, 3-point shooting used to be sort of a specialty, a forte, and it's something that maybe you would bring in a specific player for. Well, now you have guys like Kristaps Porzingis, who's 7'3", and he's shooting 3-pointers, and you got just bigs across the league that are starting to develop an outside shot as well. And then, but it's one of those things that kind of baffles me when you have a guy that can shoot, let's say 35% from 3-point range, but yet a closer shot from the foul line, he still shoots about 58%. So that's something that kind of makes me think a little bit. But you know what? As far as analytics goes, it's the world we're in now, and I think you have to take a look at it. I think you have to adjust. You have to go with the flow, for the lack of a better choice of words. But it's to answer your question, yeah, it's definitely something that I use.
No doubt about that. All right, here on the drive-thru, joined with Chris Ruffalo. Alex Smart's going to come in with the game selection for the show. And Alex, you're going to be looking at an SEC game, a bright and early game here between LSU and Arkansas on SEC Network. LSU road favorites here, 2.5. Total sits at 62. Arkansas was a really good cover team. They stubbed their toe against Florida. LSU dealing with some quarterback issues. How do you see this one?
I'm looking at I've been looking at this game like on and off, and I didn't want to pull the trigger on a higher tier game because I got to have enough respect here for, how do I say, a national champion. And a national champion right now is not playing like a national champion. COVID situation or no COVID situation, quarterback situation or no quarterback situation. This team's defense has not done well this year. And I don't think this is a good situation for them, really. Honestly, I know we all like to look at a game like this and say, hey, Arkansas, so it rings in our head, Arkansas, this is not a top-tier SEC team. We're talking about a championship team here that's, ready to, get partially healthy at least again. And are they healthy enough? And, that's the question. And are they, the biggest question is here, where are their minds at? What's the problem with the coaching? Like, why aren't they cohesive? I mean, the amount of points they're giving up is just, it's ridiculous. And, I really personally don't think it looks good for them here on the road again this week. I know a lot of bettors are on LSU just because they're LSU and they figure they're due, but there's no such thing as due for a win.
No such at all. You got to look at performance, and defensively, it's just been terrible. And of course, the quarterback situation, we're looking at a backup in here for LSU. Arkansas money line here, plus 110 against taking Arkansas on the money line here against LSU. Chris, LSU is one of those teams that you expect a lot more from. We expect some digression, but not this far down where the defense has been terrible.
No, absolutely. And I don't blow smoke, but there's a reason that Alex Smart is as good as he is at what he does. It's because of games like this. Because you look at what happened with LSU, and with all due respect to the Tigers and what they did last season, this is a shell of what last year's team was. I mean, granted, that's to be expected when you lose your starting quarterback in Joe Burrow, you lose Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you lose Justin Jefferson, and you lose a huge chunk of that offense. I don't think Miles Brennan was ready to step in from the start, and B, even if he was, he got injured, he's out for the rest of the season, and while TJ Finley had a good first game, we saw what happened against Auburn. And, he didn't show up in that game, and LSU got housed. And now you look at what Arkansas is. Arkansas is a team now that's playing with house money because, in reality, with Sam Pittman there, you're like, okay, it's a coaching change. But nobody expected this team to win an SEC game. It's just like, well, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, now, what are they? They're 2-3, 3-4 in SEC play this year. This is a team that, again, like I said, playing with house money. There were no expectations. That allows them to play loose. They're like, okay, well, we've already played above what everybody expected from us. Let's see what else we can do. And then you look at what the spot they're in here. Felipe Franks. He was a starting quarterback at Florida for a good reason. I mean, he's an elite. He's a really good quarterback for the SEC. For Arkansas's defense, giving up 63 points is a little bit alarming. But again, Florida's been electric offensively this season, and he's seen this LSU defense before, and granted now a shell of it because it's not nowhere close to what it was. But I think that Arkansas is going to take advantage of a horrendous LSU pass defense and a terrible LSU secondary, and I'm with Alex. I think Arkansas wins this one outright.
Alex, who watched that Arkansas game last week, Arkansas was hanging with them in the first half, countering some of the scores by Florida. They got away with them in the second half, but looking at Arkansas on the field, they made plays on that Florida defense.
They did, and this is a very important situation. I mean, you have to remember, now, is LSU going to be able to bang for bang here on offense this entire game? And the way their secondary is, I just don't think it was Brennan on the sidelines. I can't see it. But anyway, I have to have enough respect for LSU. There is a respect factor here. I'll have just enough respect for them to say this is a lower level play. But I still feel confident that Arkansas comes out on top.
All right, Alex Smart here, confident with Arkansas on the money line plus 110 against LSU. All right, so Alex, as we hit mid-quarter past the hour here, why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, well, I've got both sides of tonight's NFL game, Seattle and Arizona. I've got the side and total, obviously, and I have a call on the Tulane at Tulsa confrontation. And lots of action for this weekend, lots of football action.
Lots of action from Alex Smart. Check him out over at Pig Dogs Premium. You see him out nearly 700 units of profit this season, all documented at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those all sports passes from Alex? He's got that 30-day all sports pass. Get all of his plays, NFL, college football, and of course, college basketball will be in play as it starts on Wednesday. Lots of games going on Wednesday, so Alex will be ready. And Alex has a lot more work to do for us, but we'll be ready. You'll be ready for college basketball, I bet.
Absolutely, I'm ready for college basketball. I've got to. You know what? I'm going to say something really funny here. I love to watch college basketball. That's the only thing I actually like to watch it. So that's one of those things.
You like a lot of missed shots, then a lot of rebounds, turnovers, missed free throws.
Tony's not holding back.
You love misery.
I love misery. I love to be upset. I love losing games by like three throws.
Tony might as well have just said, I like watching 19 to 22-year-old men cry on hardwood.
Nothing worse than a front end of one-on-one, missing those 3 times in a row. Oh, man, I just can't wait for college basketball.
WNBA. Watch a WNBA game and you guys will just appreciate the college basketball.
Our teams that can't make a 3, they're 1 for 12 from 1 for 20 on 3, but when they hit the 3 at the buzzer to cover the spread, right? And you're on the wrong end of that one. Oh, I just love college basketball. We've all been there. We'll get ready for it. All right, Alex, it's always great having you show. We'll talk to you next week. All right, man. Get the Rolaids ready, Chris. College basketball's coming up, my man.
Oh, man. I'm going to be started on that. I got Tums. I got Rolaids. I got everything sitting on standby, and it's one of those things where it's just like you're sitting on like 7.5, and then like you're on a plus 7.5, and it's like the team that you have is down by 6, and there's like a second left, and they foul, and then you're sitting on pins and needles with those 2 free throws coming, and then it's just like I love it, but I hate it at the same time.
Oh yes. You cannot watch college basketball on a full stomach, my man. You just cannot. It's
okay. Don't tell me how to live my life.
It's tough. It's fun to watch. There are some games that end up like that. It just seems, when these guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's funny, but we all love it anyway, guys. We just bring up these little incidents once in a while that just irk us, but we know that we just remember those points, though, right? We always remember those underdogs that should have, and couldn't.
I think my least favorite is the full court shot that means absolutely nothing in terms of the game, but costs you a cover. And then you're just like, you see the shot go up and they cut to the handshake line, but then you see the scoreboard at the bottom of the screen change, and you're like, what the hell just happened? And then
Oh
you
yeah.
realize that they made the shot, and then you lost your cover. Oh my god, that's the worst. That is the worst.
Oh, nothing worse than a turnover with the ball, and you're trying to nurse a cover, a dog cover, and then you put them on the line with a foul in the last second. That to me is always the worst. The turnover, and then the foul after the turnover, and then of course your dog can't come in. But anyway, and we all love it. And of course, college basketball, when you have that plus 10 team and they get outscored in overtime by 11-0. You ever had one of those happen to you?
That's happened to me.
Get ready, my man.
There was one that, it was, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, there's like 31 seconds left, and they dribble out the clock to a shot clock violation. I'm like, somebody foul. But nobody did. They just let them drown out the clock, and I'm like, really? That's how I lose this whole parlay. Really?
I know. It happens about once a week. We're kind of exaggerating, but we just get a kick out of it. We love college basketball. We do. There are teams that will cover for you. But that's why it's more important than the handicap. You can't overlook the free throw shooting. You can't overlook the turnovers. Assist to turnover ratio. And of course, there's all those power ratings out there with the experienced team, with the seniors, with the point guards. These are things you want to look for to avoid those situations, right?
And absolutely, and you know what? It's an undervalued and I'd say underrated statistic, fouls per game. Because if you have, you could say, oh well, this team doesn't foul all that much, and this team fouls a ton, but they maybe will be a little bit more disciplined here. I think that's Vegas calling for Tony. But it's, if you have a team that fouls let's say 30 times in a game, how quickly do you think they're going to get into the bonus? And if they're playing a really good free throw shooting team, how many extra points is that they're giving up at the free throw line that they're going to have to make up for you to get your cover one way or another? That's
Chris Ruffalo. Now it's time to bring in our man Alaninos. You'll find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. Let's go and get him in right now. He's going to give us a pick from the Thursday night game between Arizona and Seattle. If we can get him, we can find him here. Here he is. How you doing, Mr. Alaninos? Looking forward to college hoops and not too far away, my man.
Yeah, looking forward. It's been a while since we've seen some basketball here, so yeah, definitely looking forward to that, and the NBA, obviously.
In the NBA, of course, you're the big fan of the Lakers. Of course, we just saw the draft. Of course, Klay Thompson, bad news for NBA fans, bettors out there. You don't like to see a guy go down. But what are your thoughts here? The Lakers, what's your thoughts overall on the draft? Because I know you're a big hoops guy.
Honestly, I haven't really fully caught up. I know I watched the start of it. I didn't quite follow the end of it. But obviously you got some good picks early, and I don't know. Should be interesting to see how they pan out, how they do once they play against some NBA players. It's one thing to play in college, but a different thing to see how you do against NBA competition.
Yeah, that's no question about that. All right, we're hinting college basketball. We got our man Louis B here. He had some opinions. He goes, Rhode Island and Dayton rarely let me down, and he also says VCU and St. Bonnie's are his moneymakers. So it seems there's one conference there that he likes there, our man Louis. But I'll ask you this, Al: any teams in college that you pretty much can rely on when you betted?
I usually just again go game by game. I don't really follow a team like that I bet on. I mean, I know I tend to maybe come out as a bit of a homer with my Dodgers and stuff, but I just thought they were a good team to bet on last year. And I root for USC, obviously, when it comes to college sports, but I'm definitely not backing them every week. Obviously, it's a different story when it comes to spread and all that, to spreads over money lines, and run lines. But so I just try to pick my best spots when I look at the card each day by day.
Chris, the A-10 is a really competitive conference. I mean, you mentioned teams like the Dayton Flyers, a team that really got screwed with the COVID last year. There's teams that people are going to keep an eye on. Moving VCU is always a competitive team. You like them when they're getting points. But any conferences that you look at?
No, the A-10 was definitely was kind to me last year. I definitely think watch and I don't want to cop out by taking a major conference here, but I think the SEC is going to have a lot more parity this year than we've seen in years past. We saw, I believe it was Alabama last year that was killing teams against the spread. They kept getting bunch of points from odds makers. They were getting really no respect, even though they were covering numbers left and right. And I think the SEC is going to be one to watch. As far as a smaller conference, I like the A10 as well. I mean, I've been, A10 was really good to me as well. Teams like Davidson, your Richmonds of the world, betting against George Mason was one of my favorite pastimes last year. I'm trying to think because again, we were supposed to have an extra month of basketball last year, and we got shafted out of that. So I'm trying to think if there were any other good conferences that were good to me last year, but it's not coming to me just yet.
Big Ten. Big Ten was for
Big Ten.
Open.
Big Ten. I have a funny story about the Big Ten, but I'll give it to you after if you want to talk about it. It was involving my trip in January, and it was involving my flight to from Las Vegas to Toronto, and it was oh man. Big Ten basketball.
Big Ten basketball. We're talking a little college basketball, guys. It starts on Wednesday. And it's very important to note a lot of volume of our picks are good, and your best are going to be from college basketball because there's just so many games, right? When you compare it to football betting, so it's important to get your eye here on the ball here and get ready for hoops, which starts in a few days on Wednesday because it's college basketball season. But right now, let's get into now Alaninos. And right now, we've got Thursday Night Football, Arizona and Seattle with the Seahawks holding steady at -3. Total sits here at 57. A short week for both teams. Arizona coming off that emotional win. Seahawks looking to bounce back.
Yeah, this should be a pretty interesting matchup between Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. I think they'll be going back and forth all night. It's raining and cold, but the wind isn't that bad, so the weather shouldn't hurt the offenses too much. Thursday night footballs have trended to the under quite a bit this season, and primetime games are notorious for going to the under as well. But these are two teams that have been much better on offense than defense. The Seahawks have been one of the, if not the worst defense in the league, and Arizona hasn't been much better. Lockett was listed as questionable, but it really sounds like he's going to play. So that should help us out here because I'm looking at the over. Seattle's gone 6-3 to the over this season. Arizona, not so much. They're 6-3 to the under, but have gone over in their last 3, scoring and conceding more than 30 points in each of those games. So I don't see why that changes in this one with these offenses and defenses as we talked about. So yeah, I'm going over that 57. Might be a little scary on Thursday night, but with these two teams and the way they've been playing lately, I like this play quite a bit.
All right, I'll say short week take Cardinals Seahawks over total of 57. And I know, Chris, we bashed the Seahawks defense, but if you look at the Arizona Cardinals defense the past 3 games, they haven't been very good.
No, not at all. It's sad for Seattle because, I mean, traditionally, how many years did we say that Seattle's calling card was their defense when they had the Legion of Boom and they had, your Bruce Irvins, and now that you still have your Bobby Wagner in there, and this is still a team that now they've transitioned to a team that relies heavily on their offense, and as far as Arizona goes, well, they still have a really good offense. The defense, I think it's better than Seattle's. I think anybody's defense is better than Seattle's right now, but the first meeting I think was 37-34 in overtime, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think we see something in the 70s, but I could easily see this game getting into the 60s or at least something like 31-28. I think we're going to go over this number, but something I mentioned on the morning show that I still like, and it's worth putting a couple bucks on, even $10 or $20. This game to go to overtime, yes, is paying up over plus 1,000. So I think if we went to overtime once, these two teams aren't that far off each other. It could happen again. So I like the over here, as well as this game potentially to go to overtime.
All right, Chris, looking here on there with the over 57. El Nino's Russell Wilson has been taking the heat for some of his miscues. A player like him taking the heat, sometimes you definitely get a big bounce back.
Yeah, and he's been known for bouncing back. He doesn't usually have too many back-to-back bad performances. But yeah, it's funny Chris mentions that because I was thinking of saying like they're gonna try to match each other like. Rush yard for rush yard, big pass for big pass. But yeah, that overtime look is quite interesting in this one. They're two very similar teams, very similar quarterbacks, and I think it's going to be a close game. And I think it's the offenses that are going to keep it close, not the defenses.
And also in overs, you got to look at the number of passes thrown. And, of course, with Carson not in the backfield, that means you're going to see probably a lot of more rollouts here from Wilson and Chris, a lot more short passes in this game.
I would also take a look at the sack props. I mean, as much as these quarterbacks like to roll out, if these defenses decide they're actually going to show up on a couple plays here and there, and lock up the defense, if you can get them behind the line of scrimmage, you can get some pretty good sack numbers out here. I didn't see what anything was before the show started, but if you can get like over 4.5 sacks at maybe plus money, or even playing just a little bit of juice up to like minus 120 or something, I think that's definitely an interesting prop you can look at as well, because like Tony, like you said, I think there's going to be a ton of rolling out. I think the pockets are going to be moving all night, and I just think this is a game where there's going to be a ton of play action. There's going to be a ton of quarterback rollouts, a ton of bootlegs, and there's going to be a lot of mobile quarterback play tonight. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, second half over could be something I'm going to keep an eye on here to place the wager on, because I know teams do wear out when they try to chase Murray and you try to chase Wilson. Those defenses will wear out. We get those reary legs there. You see a lot of fourth quarter scoring sometimes, Al, in those situations.
No, I completely agree. Chasing those guys around is no fun. Yeah, I mean, so I used to be one of the guys that used to get chased. I mean, I've chased some fast guys too. Trust me, it can be exhausting. I used to play both ways when I played my football, so that can get exhausting too. But yeah, especially I can imagine being a bigger guy trying to chase those little guys around. It can't be much fun at all.
Yeah, Chris, your thoughts?
Just ask me. Chasing those little guys around isn't fun. It's a center. I'll say, but I will say this though, not. In addition to what you said, Tony, about tired legs in the second half, it's also apparently supposed to be raining tonight in Seattle. So slippery conditions combined with tired legs, we could see quite a few chunk plays down the field with Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and if you get these defensive backs on skates, when they're bad enough when they have their feet underneath them, imagine what happens if they start slipping. Oh man, that's the second half over actually sounds like a really good look as well. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. All right, Al Nino's here with the over 57. Al, as we approach the bottom of the hour, we have approached the bottom of the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, I got my play on this side out, and passed on the college football today. Yeah, I was leaning one way early and then leaned the other way later, and I just decided to stay off. It just didn't sound like a good spot to give my opinion on. But we got some good games tomorrow, though, and then Saturday as well, and then obviously looking forward to Sunday's NFL.
All right, guys, check out Al Nino's over at Pig Dogs Premium. A pretty good run there for Al. I want to pick up one of those long-term passes from Al, get all his college football, NFL, a 30-day pass, and, of course, college basketball will be in play as it begins Wednesday. All right, Al, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we will be talking with you, actually, next week.
Yeah, you got it right this time. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a good weekend. Enjoy all the football.
All right, everybody. Al Nino's here on the drive-thru. Although he's active in the chat room, so you can always get in touch with Al in the chat as he follows along with the show, as well as the morning show. And we'll have at the end of the show when we do the breakdown. Matter of fact, if you miss any picks, a lot of people are signing on right now. If you miss any picks, stay tuned for the end of the show, because we'll recap all the plays here on the drive-thru. All right, we're continuing on here, and it's time for Chris Ruffalo, front and center, my man. You got one of the big games of the weekend, App State and Coastal Carolina, the Sun Belt. This is actually going to get some high-profile television coverage they expect here on ESPN2. Coastal here laying about 5 and 4.5 in some places as well. Total 48. We know Coastal Carolina, really good offensive team. App State, they get wins, but they don't cover. And I think we mentioned last week how they have a hard time getting to 40 points when they face some of the lower tier teams. That's why they're not covering these games, because these spreads are big. But how do you see this one?
Yeah, definitely. That's the case that you can make for App State. I think the case you can make for the Mountaineers is that they've been in this type of high profile, high pressure kind of game before. And I think it's going to take a couple years to see if, this Coastal season is just an aberration or if it's an actual changing of the guard in the Sun Belt. And Tony, like you said, the problem with App State is that they win games, but they don't cover. And when you're getting points, you don't cover. It also means you're losing that game. So I think that's going to be their issue here. And, and the other thing is that 3 of App State's last 4 games have come against teams. Well, it was a combined 14-3 Their last 3 games this season are going to be 14-3 in Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, and Louisiana, with a date against Troy being the only real outlier game there. And Troy's still a 500 team, so this is not an easy stretch over the last 4 games. And this could be where App State starts to falter. Coastal, and they're legit this season, and I think that playing a bit of a cupcake schedule up to this point isn't going to serve the Mountaineers too well in this game. Coastal Carolina has been the team to beat. And they've shown they can get it done on the road this season when they beat Louisiana as almost double-digit underdogs. I like Coastal to step up in this game, win this one by at least a touchdown. So I'd lay the points with Coastal in the spot.
Yeah, I can't complain. Their offense a little down here for App State. Of course, we saw them lose to Marshall early in the year, 17-7. All right, Chris, we passed the bottom of the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what's happened over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I said it once this morning. I'm going to say it again. I got my Thursday night cash cow. We're going to move all the way to the winner's circle, and we're going to push the books out of the way and cash some winners tonight. I got the winning side in the NFL game tonight. And guys, we always mention it, but it's the truth. Pick up one of those longer-term packages. If you pick it up tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to have my Friday night football in there. Full card Saturday. I got a bunch of plays lined up for Saturday that I absolutely love, and I'm going to have them up tomorrow for you. Sunday NFL. I'll probably have my Sunday night and Monday night game up on Sunday as well. So you're basically going to get 4 days worth of football for the price of 3, or 7-day will get you all the way up to college basketball as well as college football and NFL. And 30 days will get you all the way up to Christmas almost. So what better way to treat yourself for the holidays than to get yourself a 30-day pass full of winners? I know we're only in the middle of November, but I got a bunch of stuff lined up for you guys in December. But until then, pick up one of the passes and get some cash in your pocket.
That's right, guys. Want to pick up Chris Ruffalo's long-term passes, 30-day all-sports pass there at Pig Dogs Premium. Get all his plays for 30 days. You got NFL college football. College basketball begins on Wednesday. There'll be a lot of games Thanksgiving week. It's feast week. Chris, it's feast week, my man. Get your spread ready here for next week out here in the States. You can see Chris hitting his coma here. He's getting ready into comatose. All right, guys. So check him out over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, we'll continue on here on the show. And we're going to go ahead and welcome in Rod Zawacki. You can listen to him in the morning show with Mission Company at 10 a.m. Eastern time, but we got him here on our drive-through. Let's go ahead and we'll find him here someplace. Rod Zawacki. He is a big Dolphins supporter. We'll see how he thinks about this Dolphins team coming up this week. Let's see. We got him on here. Here we go, Rod. Rod, how are things going? We got to unmute, my man. Unmute. Oh, yeah. I think we got the mute going here. We'll see if we can unmute his mic. There he is.
There we go. There we go. Doing good. We got more snow here. Yay.
Got more snow.
Oh man, I think we're in for it this year. We're gonna get more snow we've seen in years.
Nice.
Just keeps dumping snow. More snow. Oh yeah.
No, that's probably why you like the Dolphins so much. Get out of the snow.
You get out of the snow, right? If you watch the Dolphins, it's nice and hot. You get to see everybody sweaty. It makes it not so feel so cold around here.
Oh my goodness, Chris, have you ever been in humid, hot weather before?
Yes, I have, and I looked like I just got out of the shower and didn't towel off.
That's the feeling.
Yeah.
That's why it's so tough for those teams north to come down south and play these Miami Dolphins in September, even October, even November when it's heat and when it's muggy out there. It can be pretty difficult. All right, Rod, you're going to be looking at some Big Ten action here. Illinois, a team that's been rebuilding here, and Nebraska. Nebraska laying a bundle here, 14.5. Total sits here at 59.
Yeah, I look at this game, and you see Nebraska's laying almost got a cover of minus 15 and a half points. I look at both these teams and the way they score points is they both run the ball. That's their favorite thing to do on offense is hand the ball off and let them run. You look at both defenses. Defenses are giving up. Both defenses are giving a little over 30 points a game on both sides. But the offenses are scoring 20 on Nebraska's side, 17 on Illinois. So not much of a passing game on either of these teams. What they do is their bread and butter is run the ball, both of these teams. So for me, this 59 I think is a touch too high. I think we're about 9 to 10 points off of what it should be on this total. Both teams running the ball, controlling the clock. I don't think we're in for a high-scoring shootout here. Take the under 59. I love that here.
Ron Zawacki says under 59 here in Nebraska and Illinois. Chris, Nebraska has been a team that's had some issues at quarterback. Adrian Martinez is just not the answer for them. Your thoughts on this one? Of course, Illinois, a rebuilding team, got a little bit worried about because they lost a lot from defense last season.
Yeah, and it just hasn't seemed to really work out for Illinois and Lovie Smith. And, Nebraska, Tony, like you said, Adrian Martinez hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been great. He hasn't been a game changer that Nebraska and Scott Frost needs to really sort of try to turn that team around. And, I got to say, I don't like the side here. I'm with Rod on the total. I don't think this game should even be close to 59. I could see maybe 53, if that. I could see 52. But 59 is just way too much. I think this is a game that one team will be lucky to hit 30 points and maybe something like 34, 23, or I don't know, something like that. But either way, I see this one coming in well under 59 as well.
All right, agreement there with under the total of 59, Nebraska and Illinois. All right, Rod, we're approaching a 15 till the top of the hour. Why don't you let everybody know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Tonight you can either grab the single. I've got the 10-star AAC blank check available. Got your winner there in the AAC game. Love that play. The side winner there. Or grab it all together. I got the NFL side winner as well. I'll put it all together in Rod's Drub the Books Thursday, where you get the blank check play, you get the Thursday night winner, and I got a nice first quarter smasher in there. Grab them all at the website there. One place, $29.95. Love today's card. We're going to sweep the board is what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Check out Rod Zawacki over at Pig Dogs Premium. Want to pick up one of those long-term passes? That 3-day pass will get you 3 days of football from Rod Zawacki right now over at Pig Dogs Premium. Of course, you upgraded that to 30 days, and of course, college basketball will be in play. And since we were talking college basketball, college hoops, Rod, any conference that you really zero in on?
For me, last year my big team was Hofstra. I zeroed in on Hofstra and rode them. They made us some good money covering quite a few games for us last year. As I'm digging in, I've got my eyes on a few teams here, but that's what I like to do. I like to find something that's fine, a nice small conference team that you know is going to play good and get you a bunch of covers, and then ride that team. That's how you make money in college hoops. You find a good team that makes the free throws, isn't going to be making the fouls to make you sweat at the end there where you're like, oh, my God. No, don't foul them. No, don't foul. I fouled them.
Those turnovers. The turnovers.
Oh, man.
The turnover, especially when you're trying to preserve that lead and you turn the ball over and you put them on the line.
It's the dagger that kills you when you've got the cover. You're like, yes, I've got the cover. There's like 0.8 seconds left. Nothing can happen, right? And they throw the ball to somebody and it's just like, oh, woo! And you're like, no, really? And you lose the cover by a point.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for college
basketball. I love it. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Bring this on, buddy. We can't wait. It's all exciting. All right, that's
what we love, the adrenaline rush when that three falls in. When we need it, we're like, come on, make the bomb three, and that's what keeps us coming back for more.
That's right. But that only seems to happen when you're. I will say that only seems to happen for me when I'm on a dog on the Big Ten. In the Big Ten, I will get that break. For free, it's the current conference. I'll get that, but if it's any other conference, forget about it. Big East, forget about it. It won't happen. They can't, But the Big Ten, they got guys who can make threes when they're not covered because really the defenders just lax. They don't care. They've won the game already. But in the Big Ten, you can kind of count on that 3-point shot to go in to get you that cover if you're a dog. Trying to get within a number. Is there a conference?
Get within that number.
Yeah. I think that conference has been good to me. All right, Rod, have yourself great. We'll be looking for that birdcage pick at the end of the show.
You bet. Keep an eye out for it. I like it tonight, too.
As we recap the plays. All right, buddy, Rod Zawacki here on the drive-through. All right, joined with Chris Ruffalo. Chris, this did not make a handicapper's card today, but we did give this one out. It's that Tulane-Tulsa game. It was my free pick from yesterday. Right now we're seeing Tulsa favored 4.5, 5.5. I gave it out yesterday at 6 plus 6.5. So I still like it at 5, 5.5. You can find it. What's your thoughts on this Tulane-Tulsa game?
I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be both teams get into the 30s. As good as Tulsa's been defensively, like I said, they held Oklahoma State. there's just no denying that this Tulane team just likes to cover football games, and I could easily see this being a 3 or 4 point game. So I like Tulane getting the points here.
All right, so agreement there with Tulane getting the points. All right, continuing on here on the drive-through. It's time to bring in our man who's sitting atop the leaderboards right now, college football. That's Shane Mickles. So let's welcome to the show. Shane, how are things going? I know we're talking a little bit about college hoops now as, we're getting close. It's Wednesday, and a lot of our volume of picks, believe it or not, come from college basketball. There's just so many games, right? And some guys posting 5 games a day. You don't do that in NFL, right? You probably get 6 bullets, 8 bullets a week in college football, but some people shoot 5 or 8 bullets in one day in college basketball. So it's a lot of volume of our plays, right? I think we got to unmute you, my man. Let's see. We're trying to see if we can get our sound from Shane. We're seeing the lips move, but we're not getting any sound from you. Let's see. If it's a quick fix, we'll give you a couple seconds. If not, we'll get back to you after we bring in Damien. So why don't you go ahead and see if we can correct that, and we'll go to Damien Sasha, bringing back Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-through, and we're going to we'll bring Shane in. He's probably going to sign in and sign back out. But let's go ahead and fish for Damien Sosh. We'll find him up. Let's see. Here we go. Damien Sosh, welcome to the show. How you doing today, Damien? Just get your thoughts here on college basketball. So you got that Notre Dame shirt on. I know you're a big fan of the Irish. What do you think about their hoops?
Their hoops still have a little bit of ways to go. They're a team that usually, when they get a kid, he stays for full 4 years. So I know they have some recruits coming in, but I'm looking forward to the basketball season. It's going to be certainly different. Not with fans in the stands and everything else, it's going to be completely different. But I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And just as hoops begin, is there any certain conferences for college basketball you kind of key in on?
I won't say there's any particular conference that I really key on. Obviously, the ACC, being a Notre Dame fan, is the one that I enjoy watching the most. I think that's probably one of the more exciting conferences out there to watch. But I wouldn't say I really zero in on one. But if I start hitting with the team or something like that, that's definitely going to catch my attention.
Yes, absolutely. Because you guys start looking for those rosters. Who got the returning starters with the coaching changes? With the coaching changes come style changes. A lot of times you see those big swings in totals when you start in the college basketball season because certain coaches are implementing their new styles on teams, and some of the bookmakers may not be doing their homework. Finding, hey, certain coaches like to run. There's a lot of shots per 100 possessions. You got to keep an eye on all that stuff. All right, with Damien Sosh. Damien, you're going to be looking at a game from the Big Ten, Iowa and Penn State. Penn State, one of the more disappointing teams this season. Iowa on the road here, laying 2.5. Total sits at 47.
Yeah, I'm liking Iowa in this game to get the win and cover. You mentioned Penn State is just disappointed this year, and really they're just not a very good football team right now. Defensively, they're giving up almost 35 points per game. They've got issues at quarterback. It looks like Will Levis is going to get to start in this game. He replaced Sean Clifford. And Levis, in his action against Nebraska, he seemed to provide a little bit of a spark, but he was still just 14 for 31 passing the ball. So he obviously needs to improve on that completion percentage for Penn State to have a shot in this one. Iowa, meanwhile, they haven't beaten Penn State in their last 6 meetings. If there's ever going to be the time for them to beat them, it's now. There's not going to be any fans in Beaver Stadium. Iowa's coming in on a roll. They've won 2 in a row. They're a very physical team. They've got a good run game with Goodson and Sargent. Their offensive line, I think, is excellent. Now Spencer Petras, the quarterback for Iowa, he's not, an elite quarterback. I think Penn State has definitely seen some better quarterbacks early on here in the early going. But as long as Petras just manages the game, doesn't turn the ball over, I think Iowa's going to be fine. Defensively, Iowa can really get after you with their front. They're very opportunistic on the back end. They've got 8 interceptions on the season. They're only giving up 14.8 points per game. So overall, I just think Iowa's a more physical team, and I like them to get the win here on the road and the cover.
Damien and Iowa laying the points here at Penn State. Chris, Damien mentioned Clifford. I mean, he took some heat last year from the student body. Clifford just having difficulties there.
Well, I feel this is going to be a short call for me because Damien had a lot of good points that I was going to make. But you know what? You look at this Penn State team, and yeah, they're 0-4. I think a lot of it has to do with just a lot of bad luck. I mean, you look at how the Indiana game shook out and had injuries at running back, and -3 turnover margin at Maryland were all just bad luck. But I think it's just more than the team being awful. The problem is that being awful or not, this team is still losing football games, and I think playing around with the quarterback situation isn't going to help anything. Whether you start the backup or you start Sean Clifford, I'm not sure, but I think Damien's spot on. I think Iowa's going to rely on Goodson and Sargent and just run all over Penn State here. As well coached as I think Penn State is with James Franklin, I just don't think that this is their year. I think they're going to start focusing on next year and evaluating sort of what they have. I think this is an Iowa win all day. I think this is at least 2.5. I think this is at least a field goal win, if not more. And like Damien said, this is Iowa's best chance to get a win on the road at Penn State. I'm on the Hawkeyes here.
Yeah, I think we all three of us will agree here on Iowa laying the points here against Penn State. All right, Damien, as we're posting the top of the hour, why don't you let everybody know what you got going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Sure. I still have 3 plays available tonight. I've got the side and the total in the NFL game, and obviously playing the side in the college football game as well. This weekend, I'm really looking to rebound. Last weekend was unacceptable, and we're going to bounce back nicely this weekend. I like some plays here for Friday that I'm probably going to have up later on tonight, and then obviously a big card here on Saturday and Sunday. So definitely looking forward to the weekend, guys.
Big weekend. I wanted to pick up one of those long-term passes from Damien Sauce, 7-day or 3-day all-sports pass. We'll get you all of Damien's plays for that period of time. College football, NFL, of course, college basketball in play, as we have a big card, a big TV card as well on Wednesday. All right, Damien, it's always great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Damien Sauce here on the drive-through as we continue on. A lot of conversation, and Chris, I recommend you not look at the chat room right now, because you know what the topic of conversation is right now. It's about Rod's chili. So we'll continue. We'll continue on. You guys got to check out the recipe. It looks very good, by the way. You really want to see this. He's got a really good recipe up there. All right, guys, we'll continue on. Let's bring in our buddy Shane Mickle. Let's see if we can get him wired up here. There we go. Let's try it again. Shane, how you doing?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. The reset.
Perfect.
It seems to be working every time when we get that reset. So we got that thing rolling. All right, we were talking college basketball. We know you're out there in Big Ten country. Minnesota Golden Gophers. Pitino a little bit on the hot seat right now, right?
Well, I mean, I don't actually know if he's on the hot seat. He's got a pretty big buyout. He's got some good transfers coming in. And I think they actually find success this year. Probably still 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th in the Big Ten. But I guess for Golden Gophers fans, we call that success.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they've done well. Sometimes the road's been kind of tough on them. We'll see how it squares off for them. All right, we got a card from UFC. It's winding down the year here. UFC 255 from Vegas Apex Center. It's a big card. Why don't you kind of fill us in on what's going on in UFC?
Yeah, we've got 2 title fights, both for the flyweight, women's flyweight, men's flyweight, and then both heavy favorites. And I really want you to play on one of those 2 fights, but I don't like laying big numbers. And these are 2 fights. I always look for the value, and I do not see any value in those 2 fights. So I'm going to look at the Mike Perry and Tim Means fight. First of all, Mike Perry is a scum. And he really shouldn't be on the UFC roster anymore after what he did punching that old man. But in this fight, he's the favorite. He did look good in his last fight, but he hasn't won back-to-back fights since 2017. He struggles against fighters who he likes to grapple. He struggles against fighters who will throw a punch and then circle out, and that's exactly what Tim Means is going to do here. Tim Means is good underdog value. Take Tim Means to win. I will also be laying a little bit on Tim Means to win by knockout.
All right, Shane looks at Means here, the 16-year-old veteran in the sport. It's been a while, been in that sport a while. Chris, your thoughts on this card?
I mean, I like the card as well. I think you have to dig a little bit for the value, but I think there is going to be some value. I just got to find it. As far as this fight goes, I'm with Shane 100%. Mike Perry's a pompous jackass, and I think that I think he's going to get humbled a bit here. The problem with Tim Means that he's been susceptible to being submitted in his career, and Mike Perry is not a submission artist by any means. Both these guys are going to stand and throw hands, and I think this is going to be a tough one for Mike Perry because Means has only been knocked out once in his career, and I think we're going to see a lot of standing and banging here, and I think my personal thought on this is that this fight goes the distance. I'm going to take the fight to go the distance at plus 120. I like Tim Means on the money line. I'm also going to cover off a little bit of prop bets. I'm going to cover off. I'm with Shane taking Tim Means by knockout just because I have a personal thing against Mike Perry, and I wouldn't mind seeing him get knocked out. But I'll also put a little bit on Tim Means to win by decision. I think those are some nice odds as well.
Agreement there on Tim Means. And Shane, I was seeing here that Conor McGregor making some news.
Yeah, another fight with Dustin Poirier. I'm sure after that fight, I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, but he's all about working that money, and he retired again, got his big paycheck, and now he's back. But I mean, he's got if Khabib's really retiring, he's got a real shot. Dana White said this one wouldn't be for a belt, even if Khabib is really retiring. But we could be looking at Conor McGregor winning a belt by the end of next year.
Chris, your thoughts on McGregor, Khabib with their retirement? Is it like boxing where these fighters say I'm retired, they're just looking for a bigger payday?
Could be. That's the fight that everyone's going to clamor for and that everybody's going to want to see. Khabib just seems like a very humble person, though, and if he says that, I think he seems like the kind of guy that family means a little bit more to him than a lot of these guys might play on when they talk in their post fight pressers. But if he said he made a promise to his mother that he's done, I honestly think Khabib's the kind of guy that might be done. I don't think he's drawn in by a major payday. I think he's done his time. So I personally think Khabib is actually going to stay retired. But would I take a Conor McGregor Khabib rematch? Absolutely, 24/7, 365. I would.
All right, we're here with Shane Mickle here as we're looking at the UFC card here, 255. As we approach the top of the hour, you're doing great work over at Pig Dogs Premium. We see top of the leaderboards here in college football. You had a fantastic NBA season. What you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, 3-0 so off the board yesterday in football. I got 3 plays between the 2 football games tonight, $29.95. And then also my 3-pack, either today or tomorrow. Get all my college football games for Saturday. That's going to be the best bang for your buck.
That's right, guys. Check out Shane Mickle over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not get one of those long-term passes? You see him number 1 on the leaderboards here. College football with number 2 in NBA. Third day all pass. We'll get all of his plays from college football, college NFL, as well as college basketball, which begins on Wednesday. So get on board with Shane Mickle. He's had a fantastic year over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, Shane, I just want to let everybody know if they want to read more of your content from MMA, you can be found over at the Sports Chat Place, Pig Dogs.
Pig Dogs. And I did want to make one more point about the NBA before I left. It's kind of interesting here in Minnesota. Timberwolves drafted Anthony Edwards last night. You wouldn't know 2 hours on Twitter after the Timberwolves traded back for Ricky Rubio. Fan favorite. Might not be so popular across the rest of the league, but Minnesota loves him. It should be exciting seeing him back in the Wolves.
Yeah, it should be exciting to see him back on the Wolves. And, man, it was heartbreaking watching when he tore his knee. When I remember you were probably young, really young, when Kobe Bryant did a knee-to-knee with him, and he went out.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah, exciting times in the NBA draft. And, of course, Minnesota, let's get him back in the playoffs, man.
Yeah. We can only hope. one day, right?
Maybe Kevin Garnett can come back as coach. Maybe that can happen one day.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That's what you need. All right, Shane Mickle, have a great night. All right, we'll continue on here on the drive-through here as we just had Shane Mickle on. We'll bring in our man Chris Ruffalo, my co-host, as we continue. Of course, now it's time to listen for Mitch. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Our buddy Mitch, he runs a show in the morning. He does computer picks. He also does halftime. You'll get him also on the halftime show of this Arizona and Seattle game. And let's go bring him on. Mitch, how you doing? Of course, we're talking college basketball because, we put such a high volume of picks up in college basketball. Sometimes we have 5 to 6 games up there. Sometimes more than we do in a week in college football.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of games in college basketball, but it's like, this is just like all the rest of the sports. We're just going to have to follow these day by day and watch exactly who's playing and who's not playing. And, this is not on a week to week basis thing. This is a day to day thing and an hour to hour thing. And, we were all excited when sports came back from the COVID stoppage, but, I'm a realist. It has nothing to do with a political opinion or side or any of that things. But we're starting to see, 15 college football games canceled on a weekend, and that's a quarter of the game. So I can imagine that we're going to see some of that same sort of thing happen in college basketball. So, you really want to watch out, because will games be canceled? Will players, be sitting, with a positive test? It's like if they play Georgia, is the coach going to be okay? If they're playing Vandy, the coach is not there this week. I mean, that seems to be the way it worked in college football. I'm just not sure, but it's like it's very, very hard to prepare and handicap when you don't know who's playing.
Yeah, that's for sure. But in college basketball, you're kind of dealing with about 15 to 18 players. And of course, college football, a lot more players. But you see possible. Well, obviously, with this virus, it's going to control. Right, it's out of control right now. So you see it to be about on par, maybe 15 to 20% of the games canceled.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing it rampant across the universities across the nation, and like I've said on our morning show, my nephews go to Ohio State. They had COVID, a month ago, and it was rampant at Ohio State. And I was surprised games weren't canceled and things of that nature. We're going to see stoppages. We can only hope, that we're going to get March Madness this year. And I'm hoping that the vaccine is out. And I said it on my computer pick show, which turned into an Ask Mitch show. I said, hopefully we're all together, our whole crew, like everybody, and we're all in Vegas for March Madness, Tony, Chris, and me, and, whoever, all of our whole community, hopefully we go to some sports book, we just take over the damn joint, and nothing would make me happier, but, today, I don't see it, but, in 3 months from now, 4 months from now, it's certainly a possibility. As quickly as it came in, I think it can go out just as quickly. So, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist.
And of course, getting ready for college basketball. Any conferences that you kind of zero in on? But I know you keep an eye on a lot of these teams. Really hard to, but what conferences do you really put your eye on?
I just bet against Notre Dame every single time out. Just kidding. That was just a jab at Damian Sosh, but it was not before me. So it's like, but actually, I think you hit on, as a fan, I like the big conferences like everybody else. I like the Big Ten, I like the ACC, and I like the SEC, and I like the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, and then I like, but I also like all the other conferences too, because. Tony and I have been doing this together for a long time, so it's like we've been down the road, and we know exactly how it works, right? So there's no Ivy League for Fridays, so it's going to be Horizon Fridays, right? And just pure Horizon Fridays, and then we got Tuesday is kind of like that weird day where you get like 2 SEC games, a couple ACC games, right? But you get maybe 15 games on a Tuesday. Then Wednesday is not quite Saturday, but 80 games, right, on a Wednesday. And then on Thursday, there's actually more. There's like 125, but hardly any from the really big conference. You'll get Pac-12, but it's when you get that Mountain West, the Big West, the Sky, Big Sky, all those, they all play on Thursdays. Then you go into Friday, it's Horizon. Then Saturday, it's the big day. And then Sunday, also a pretty big day, and you always get UCLA and USC and Washington and Cal are always playing late on Sunday night. And it's like, and then we go into Monday, which is still the lightest day of sports in the week. And then we're back into Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's just this, like you said, a massive, massive amount of games. But, like any other sport, the more games we have under our belt, just like, spread knowledge works and, how all of us work. The more data we have to work with, the more we get to see. Who knew Obi Toppin was going to take over the world last year, until we actually saw it with our very eyes.
Yeah, no question about that. All right, Mitch joined us here on the Drive-Thru. Mitch, your show pick, you picked Michigan and Rutgers.
I'm going Rutgers. I'm going Rutgers here on the money line. We're, one thing that we have to come to terms with as a community, And it's all about community. We're all in this together, right? We say these things, and it's been the way the world has been, right? For the last, almost 8 months now, right? And we're all in this together. But we all have to hold hands, and we all have to realize that we're only going to have X amount of games to bet against Jim Harbaugh. We're only going to get X amount of more chances because this guy, unfortunately, is going to be headed to the booth. And it's going to be lousy, It's going to be lousy for all of us. We're not going to, it's going to be more games with no sound, right? Imagine him and Urban Meyer in the same studio show. I mean, how brutal is that going to be, right? I mean, but that's what we're headed towards. So we only have a certain amount of games to bet against Jim Harbaugh. So we have to take full advantage of every single one of them. We're going to take Rutgers with the points. That's a gimme, right? And when you come here to going with the money line, this is where you say, well, I see that the money is all going on Michigan, and that's not surprising because it's always – Michigan is a money team, right? So there's always money on Michigan. So 88% of the spread dollars are on Michigan in this game. 99% of the money line bets are on Michigan in this game. Take the total contrarian outlook here and look at reality, and no one blows games that they're supposed to win more than this guy, right? Nobody. I mean, there hasn't been a guy that does it more than this guy. Greg Schiano was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. They seem to do a pretty good job against Michigan just about every single year. So my guess is that he's going to know Harbaugh's tendencies. He's going to know his game plan. He's going to know his act. And, let's face it, Michigan just doesn't have that cohesiveness. They haven't looked like a good team, out on the field. It's like Milton looks lost out there. We could see, over time in different situations, quarterbacks you check down the receivers and you kind of, you have these bad timed running plays, right? And, Jim Harbaugh game plan, but this guy just doesn't even seem to, he just seems to be a deer in the headlights out there. Super skilled athletically, but I don't know, challenged maybe by the game plan. I just don't understand it, but there's no way. 10.5 points? I mean, and plus 310 odds? That's how like I say on the morning show, got 2 sports cars in the garage. It's stuff like this that pays for it.
Oh, yeah, I know that UCLA coach made you a lot of money. He did a lot of work to that house, right?
Absolutely. We have the Jim Mora Jr. Lanai out back. Really did a nice job. And I mean, we did get that. We had that. Tony and I were privileged enough to get that magical run of the Josh Rosen, Jim Mora Jr. combo, which, that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's like chances like that only come around once in a lifetime, where it's just like, where you just say to yourself, we don't really have to do anything here at all, it's just a matter of making the bet, and that's all you have to do. Those are the good ones, it's like you cherish the good times.
Chris, Schiano over to Rutgers. We saw the team fight and cover against Ohio State. They didn't give up. That's one thing I noticed with this Rutgers team. They definitely play hard.
Oh yeah, they play with heart, and they unfortunately took it against Indiana previous week. But I'm with Mitch here. I hate Jim Harbaugh now. I think that's something that he sort of turned me on to over the last few years, and it's been tried and true, and now it's no different here. A lot of these Michigan players don't even look like they want to be they don't want to be there. They don't want to be on the team. They would rather be somewhere else. They'd rather be, at home, just hanging out, watching football rather than out there playing it on Saturday afternoon, or in this case Saturday evening. And I think that the seat's going to eventually get turned up to Inferno on Jim Harbaugh's seat here, and I think Rutgers does win this game. I think they win this game maybe even comfortably. I think they could win this game by at least a touchdown. And Michigan, they're not finishing their drives. They're not scoring. I'm with him here. I like Rutgers on the money line as well.
Rutgers on the money line here, plus 310 against Michigan. Mitch, we did find some news from the Pac-12. They were allowed to play some non-conference games. Well, great, to come here in the end of November. So, yeah, you guys can play some non-conference games. But it does make up something interesting here with BYU. If a Pac-12 team will reach out to BYU, maybe a playoff qualifier for some teams here, maybe to get into a big bowl. Could you see maybe an Oregon, or if the situation breaks for some of these teams, to face a BYU from one of the big squads from the Pac-12?
Yeah, I think I would love to see BYU take on one of the big name schools out there, and I think we saw that they had this schedule lined up. I think they could take care of business against a lot of these big schools. But I think what you're going to see is, no one wants to play these guys. They don't want to play them. And it's like, why would you want to? This is like, why don't they let Boise in the Big 12? It's like, why would you do that? It's like, I think other conferences have learned their lesson. You let in somebody like that, now all of a sudden, now they have that recruiting on them, It's like you give them now that recruiting angle as well. Well, we beat up on these guys in the back. Well, imagine what we could do with you on our roster.
Yeah,
that's you, and you could be here. It's like that's and that's you don't see Texas welcoming Houston with open arms, or Cincinnati or any of these other teams. They just don't want them. Boise, even though it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if we had a Boise State, even in Cincinnati, or a BYU make the trip. Of course, the Pac-12 set the terms. It has to be in a Pac-12 home stadium, and it has to be on their network. So that was the terms the Pac-12 said. Of course, if they're trying to lure BYU, a Cincinnati, or one of those mid-major teams that are doing well, they set the terms for that.
Well, Cincinnati's only had, this is only their second road game of the year is Saturday. So we'll see how the Bearcats hold up on the road, especially in the warm weather.
All right, we got Mitch on record, Rutgers money line plus 310. I want you to let everybody know what's happening over at Pig Dogs and Sports Chat.
Well, we got the coolest thing we've ever done coming up starting December 1st. We're having a contest where you can become a handicapper. The winner will become a handicapper with us. Probably likely be a guest on this show, a regular guest on this show. We're going to have 2 contests run simultaneously, one in the Sports Chat Place group, one in the Pig Dogs group. And everyone is free to enter those contests. You can enter both. You can have one entry in the Pig Dogs in the Pig Dogs group. You can have an entry in the Sports Chat group. And you just can't put the same picks in both. You have to do different picks in each, unless it's like Monday Night Football and there's only one game or something. But with college basketball, this should not be an issue. And basically, whoever at the end of December, it's going to run December 1st to December 31st. Whoever has the best record of in each group, Rod Zawacki is going to run the contest. So we're going to have a firm set of rules by the day after Thanksgiving. We will have a firm set of rules. A firm thing is how you enter your picks, when the picks need to be entered by. All the stuff that makes it, a legitimate contest, and we're going to do it that way. And then you'll have a way to enter your picks into the Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, well, then you can't be in the contest. That's basically the way it's going to work. And like I said, the winner, we'll have 2 winners, one from Sports Chat Place group, one from Pig Dog group, and you will become a handicapper at our websites, and you'll have the opportunity to do things that our handicappers do, to be on this show, to be on, possibly our morning show. We have, Ruffalo can't be everywhere, and he knew it was just a temporary gig to begin with, so, we're always looking for a replacement for him. But, it's a joke. It's a joke. Like, stop picking on Chris. It's like, yeah, I'm really excited about it, and so I encourage everyone to enter. I get more emails about how do I become a handicapper on your site than any other email. So, and everyone telling me how great their picks are. Let's show me, let's do it up. You got 31 days of picks. It's going to be 1 to 3 picks per day. That's for sure. And it's just going to be the major sports, basketball, football, and if there's hockey comes back, we'll have hockey as well. But right now we're just planning on being basketball and football, and that's it.
All right, there you got it from Mitch. Get on that capping contest over for Pig Dogs. And
we'll be posting these guys will be posting the leaderboards every day on this show, and we'll be posting them on our morning show as well. They'll be in the Facebook group. But like I said, Zawacki's going to run the contest. He's going to be the final thing, so there'll be no crying to Mitch and no like, well, I didn't get my picks in, but I meant to take Georgia State. There's not going to be any of that. It's going to be, this is the time the picks are in. There's no exceptions, or else, if you don't put picks in one day, it's just a loss, right? It just counts as a loss. Or you should probably out of the contest. We'll have to make it one or the other. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to see everybody pick, and then everyone else in the group, you'll also have the option, to create a post. doing your write-up. Like, what would your write-up be for your pick in this game? Because there's more to being a handicapper than just, it's that we're not, our handicap, being a professional handicapper is not a picking contest. It's the whole idea is to put people on winners. People that need help because they don't have the time to do the research themselves, because their picks stink, because they do their own picks, they lose money. That is what we're here to accomplish. I don't care where I am in the leaderboard. I look at it less often than anybody. I mention it even less often than anybody. I mean, Brian Bittler, he loves to talk about the leaderboard. It's kind of our running thing in the morning, but I rarely look at it. I know when I'm winning and when I'm not. I know I was 1-2 yesterday. I know that for sure. But I know Saturday I did pretty good, and Sunday I did pretty good, and Monday I won, and whatever. Tuesday I won. So I had one losing day in the last week and a half or something. So I must be doing okay. But I'm excited to bring some new blood in, and also if we find some other talent out there in the contest through people's write-ups and stuff like that, well, it's not a closed door here. We could fire Ruffalo from being a capper also. I mean, there's plenty of room, plenty of movement, plenty of room. But I'm excited about it, and I know a lot of people are excited about it.
Absolutely. All right, that was Mitch here joining us on the drive-thru, and of course, stay tuned at halftime. Mitch, I know you'll be on for that Seahawks and Cardinals game.
Yes, I will be on with Ann Shore, who has not been on the drive-thru yet, but you guys have to have her on. I'm hoping that we get a lot of women to enter the handicapping contest. And I know Ann has really inspired other women. I think a lot of other shows have women on the show, kind of like as a hostess or a person like that. But I don't see too many women handicappers, out there. And I think Ann, she's a trailblazer, and she is who she is. She's not wearing, a ton of makeup, and she's not there to be the bimbo, who says, here's our coupon code. She's not there to do that. She's there to say, I need you on the over because I want you to make money. It's like, that's right? And then that's what she does, and she gives it back. I mean, it's funny because the guys were like on their best behavior for like the first week, for the first week they were on their best behavior with Ann there, and then now it's like they're back, they're walking around their boxers again, it's like pretty much where they're at. So yeah.
All right, Mitch, we'll be waiting for that halftime show. Halftime, Cardinals and Seahawks. I'll have Mitch with the halftime picks. All right, Mitch, have a great show. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the drive-thru. Any feedback on the drive-thru, the format, any of that stuff, the pace? It's a little slower pace than we originally planned, but if you guys like it this way, we keep it this way. If not, you got to let us know because we can pretty much change it in a hurry. Absolutely. As I said, Ruffalo's position is it's kind of the flex. That's where our flexibility lies. It's right over here.
That's where the flexibility lies. That's where the flexibility lies.
We have some flexibility on the show. Thanks everyone. Thanks for hanging in there and waiting to hear me. But right. Go Rutgers.
Rutgers money line was Mitch's pick, so we'll be.
I'll see you guys at halftime, man. We've been crushing it at halftime. I'll see you guys at halftime.
All right, tune in to Mitch at halftime. You'll find him here on Sports Chat as well as Pig Dog's YouTube channel. Check those notifications right at halftime for Mitch's pick. All right, continue on the drive-thru, guys. It's time for yours truly to give a pick, and we're going to be looking at this Syracuse and Louisville game. We're going to go under total 56.5 now. I expect Louisville to keep the ball on the ground in this spot. Their strength is running the football, 5.5 yards a carry. Syracuse not defending the run very well. Cardinals quarterback Malik Cunningham has been sacked 7 times the past 2 games, 4 picks. Just don't throw the football. Just run the ball in this game. Even more reasons to keep Cunningham's passing attempts to a minimum in this one. Now, Syracuse offense just anemic, 2.9 yards a carry. They've lost their starting quarterback Tommy DeVito to injury. The freshman Rex Culpepper completing only 48% of his passes, 5.4 yards per attempt. I see Louisville getting a lead. I don't want to lay the points with them, but I like the under here, 56.5. Chris, I know you were looking at the Syracuse side of that one, right?
Yeah, I was looking at Syracuse mainly just because I don't trust Louisville as far as I can throw them, and there's no way with the injuries to Tutu Atwell and Javian Hawkins, that I'm laying 18 points with the Cardinals. That seems just ludicrous to me. This total was to be honest with you, something I stayed away from because to all the points you've made, Tony, an under makes sense. But the reason that it all makes sense, just whatever reason, just seems like it'll be a contrarian game. It'll be 60, 70 points. And just because of all the reasons that we thought this game's an under and under and under, and we blink and it's 38-20. So I didn't stay near I stayed far away from the total. I really like Syracuse in this spot. I just think that too much respect is being given to Louisville, mainly as, if people are making this line because it's a fade against Syracuse, so be it, but it's still too many points.
All right, Chris, they're on taking the points there with the Syracuse Orange. All right, guys, this is the drive-thru. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We do it all over again. We'll have picks for Friday's game. Of course, Saturday college football, NFL picks will be in there as well for Sunday, so tune in. All right, now it's time to recap the picks from today. All right, let's find the plays here. We've got the picks for the show. It all started with Alex Smart. He was on Arkansas money line, plus 110 against LSU. Al Ninos, Cardinals Seahawks, Thursday Night Football, over total of 57 points. Rod Zawacki, Nebraska, Illinois to go under 59. Shane, UFC 255. Tim Means at plus 135 against Mike Perry. Damian Sosh, Iowa, minus 2.5 against Penn State. Mitch, Rutgers, money line, plus 310 against Michigan. Yours truly was on the under between Syracuse and Louisville. We'll start with Chris. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Yeah, this is actually a hard one for me today because there's so many that I actually do like. I think this might be the first time where I agree with more than like 60% of the board. I'm going to go with Alex Smart. I like that Arkansas money line at plus 110.
All right, we got Al Ninos here on this segment. Al, you there?
Yep.
right.
I will. Mine was a toss-up between Chris and Damien's, but I will go with Coastal. They've been
You'll go
pretty
with
good
Coastal?
to me this season, yeah.
I like Damien here with Iowa minus 2.5 against
Yeah, that's
Penn.
a really good pick too.
Yeah, that one I have like.
Again, I like a lot of these plays too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's all right, guys. That was a drive-through again. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Mitch will be here at halftime of the Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals game with Annie Shore. So be sure to check that out for that halftime pick from Mitch. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the crew from today's show. We'll give a nice wave goodbye. And I'm Tony T. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, we got, there we go, Rod Zawacki's Birdcage pick right below me. Seattle at minus 0.5 point in the first quarter. So check that out from Rod Zawacki, courtesy here on the drive-through.